mind.
Nice.
Okay. We're supposed to roll the open.
That was mind blowing.
Wow, good job.
Welcome, everyone. We have an open here. We are going live here with
And we're live.
Here we
There
go.
are so many people that are disconnected from their internal guidance. My mission is to change that.
I don't just talk stuff and repeat stuff. I'm living this stuff.
I'm your tarot master and bad vibe blaster.
And you can thank me for covering your astro. Leading out loud. Leading out loud. Leading out loud.
Hello and welcome to LOL Leading Out Loud, where we hope to become your absolute favorite spiritual shift show on earth. Joining me tonight, live from each of our locations, is my motley mystical crew. Let's say hello to each of them. Representing the angels in heaven, we have angel communicator Devin Dewar.
Hey, everybody.
Calling in the powers of the tarot cards and the ancient occult, tarot master Chris Reck.
Hey there, everybody.
Speaking for and to the dead, psychic medium Scott Cruz.
Hello, beautiful souls.
And giving voice to astrology and the planets is yours truly, psychic astrologer Christopher Witecki. Thank you for joining us, everyone. We're crazy enough to do this show live. We've been actually rehearsing for about 6 months now, although you won't be able to tell that. We're streaming to each of our audience on our YouTube channels, and we're also broadcasting on our own home channel at LOL Leading Out Loud on YouTube. So if you're watching on our home channel, please subscribe, hit the bell button so you're notified, and be sure to like this video. We also have a live super chat going on right now between all the virtual TV network affiliates. So if you're in the chat, hey, tell us where you're chatting from and what your astrology sign is. And if you have any feedback for us on this maiden voyage, please put it in the comments, put it in the chat. We'd like to know because we want to improve the show. We are deliberately launching this on a Mercury retrograde so we can reveal the work we can do to make it better. Now, the show's concept is very simple. A psychic medium, a tarot master, an angel reader, and an astrologer get together each week to talk about news headlines, pop culture, world events, spiritual taboos, aliens, world leaders, which is the same thing, and any other topic that requires some psychic investigation. We are the shift show that's going to say the quiet part out loud, but what makes us truly unique is that we speak from the point of view of our spiritual powers. You will get that nowhere else on earth. So shall we get started, gang?
Let's do it.
Do it.
Okay. We usually open up the show. So again, this is a unique version of the show. We're actually sort of launching. This is a soft launch. We want to bring our crowd in and our audiences and see what people thought. But we're going to give you how the show goes. And we're actually going to roll back and show you clips from older shows that we were rehearsing on so you can sort of see how well we were able to predict. So we always open our shows with events and headlines going on in the world. The world has gone to a crazy place, and we want to use our full 360 roundtable point of view with our special powers to be able to see these things for what they really are. For our debut show, we're going to go ahead and review some of the headlines that we've been following over the last few weeks. We also have a special guest on that we'll talk about later. And with that, I think we move on to our first topic, which has been trending like crazy, Sagittarius Taylor Swift. She's been quite the topic of this year between her albums, her Grammys, and her football players. Our divine Devin Dewar, please enlighten us on Taylor Swift.
Oh, yeah. Well, she's been all over the headlines a lot lately. And many of us know she just released a new album called The Tortured Poets Department. And this is really bringing up a lot of controversy. She's starting to talk about a lot of other celebrities, people from her past, plus all the other amazing headlines. And we had already been talking about Taylor quite a bit a few weeks ago during rehearsal. So why don't we roll some of that footage and we'll see what we were talking about back then.
All right. And we are getting used to this new software.
It's Kelsey and Taylor Swift's show, which is what do these displays of this couple's romance and emotions reveal about the true dynamics of Kelsey and Swift's relationship as they step out of the stadium's glow? In other words, what's it really like behind closed doors with this couple? Let's go to Chris Reck first.
Chris Reck thinks that everybody who knows tarot knows exactly where this is going because, Emperor in reverse. I don't even read reversals. Emperor in reverse is not good. I think that this was all for some sort of show. Maybe Scott can help me. I'm going to go to Scott.
Yeah, thank you, because I can't hold this barf down any longer. So, for me, it's very clear and obvious. You don't have to be psychic. Stevie Wonder could see this. It's very much for publicity. I think that she's definitely trying to get in with the Super Bowl to perform. So I think like I said before, there is that staging, but I do think they're finding a kindling, or some sort of a dynamic between what they're going through right now. So there is a genuine like at this point. So, but it's definitely conditional. She's a witch to me, so I get witch vibes with her. So I really feel like she understands how to manipulate to get what she wants, and it's happening, and she's on a high with that right now.
Just by
I
his
feel like we have a Swiftie here, so
I have a lot of thoughts and feelings on my mother, my diva, my icon. I live for Miss Swift. Here's what
I gotta go to the
will
bathroom.
say.
Be right back.
Everything that you said, Scott, I completely agree with. What I appreciate about Taylor Swift is that she takes herself so seriously, and
Right.
that's her magic, right? That's
Yeah.
where she's got all of that Capricorn in her second house. She has a
Right.
Scorpio rising. She has Mars conjunct her rising sign, but she has this really beautiful, sensitive Cancer moon, really, really close to Jupiter. Yes, it is making a slight, wide degree opposition to, her Neptune and to her Mercury and to her Uranus, and her Saturn. So there could be a little bit of a misguidedness with the way that she expresses her sense of emotion. There could be a misguidedness between the way that she expresses, the way that she finds security and holds on to that. But I also think that's why we all feed into it, right? Even you love to hate her. That's the T. People love to hate Taylor Swift. People love to love Taylor Swift.
I just don't care.
Well, okay, there's that too. But you're still talking about her. You seem to have a lot of opinions for someone who doesn't care.
Of course.
But what I think is interesting is a lot of the discourse that followed the Grammys, which was people saying Taylor should not have won the album of the year. It felt a little bit like, especially with Lana right next to her on stage, taking that album of the year, who is supposedly her best friend, and then being like,
lost
also, by
something
the
there.
way,
Hey, well,
Okay. All right. So with that said, we did not mean for that to happen. We have another 5 minutes of that clip going on there. So maybe we'll be able to cue back up. I'm not sure what happened. Long story short, we've been talking about Taylor Swift, and the roundtable perspective, a couple of them that we didn't get to see there, was whether or not she's going to end up getting married this year, and what we felt was going to happen with Kelsey, right? That was where that clip ended up.
Yep. And I think I was like, me and Devin, I don't think saw it. We didn't see like marriage. I think you and Christopher and Chris saw more of like an engagement, but failed not marriage. So we're going to kind of see who wins the read on that one.
Yeah, we all definitely see her story like shifting and giving her some opportunities to shift out of so much work and so much travel, and maybe even shifting her overall persona, how she's seen by her audience. So there was a lot of guidance around that for sure.
Now, did that clip end mysteriously, or did it end for a reason?
Oh, good point.
Yeah,
Scott.
right. Exactly. Maybe they don't want to reveal it.
Yeah, it looks like we're bringing it back up, and we're going to be able to watch it over us. So, y'all, we did launch in a Mercury retrograde. So thank you, everyone, for your patience.
But for today is the track.
Looks like we're taking it from the top.
especially with Lana right next to her on stage, taking that album of the year, who is supposedly her best friend, and then being like, also,
Two for two.
about Taylor Swift is that she takes herself so seriously, and that's her magic, right? That's where she's got all of that Capricorn in her second house. She has a Scorpio rising. She has Mars conjunct her rising sign, but she has this really beautiful, sensitive Cancer moon, really, really close to Jupiter. Yes, it is making a slight, wide degree opposition to, her Neptune and to her Mercury and to her Uranus, and her Saturn. So there could be a little bit of a misguidedness with the way that she expresses her sense of emotion. There could be a misguidedness between the way that she expresses, the way that she finds security and holds on to that. But I also think that's why we all feed into it, right? Even you love to hate her. That's the T. People love to hate Taylor Swift. People love to love Taylor Swift.
I just don't care.
Well, okay, there's that too. But you're still talking about her. You seem to have a lot of opinions for someone who doesn't care.
Of course.
But what I think is interesting is a lot of the discourse that followed the Grammys, which was people saying Taylor should not have won the album of the year. It felt a little bit like, especially with Lana right next to her on stage, taking that album of the year, who is supposedly her best friend, and then being like, also, by the way, I have this album coming out. So my thought and my question to the group is kind of like a two-parter. Do we think that Taylor is getting a little bit too big for her britches? And do we kind of sense and feel as though she's going to have to kind of get off this sort of spacey, cloudy sort of pedestal that she holds herself on and she thinks she's kind of untouchable in?
Interesting. I do think she's going to have a little bit of a check, if you will. I mean, the South Node's going through her 11th house right now, and the North Node's going through her 5th. So actually, this little moment with this football player, I think it does have deeper meanings. I actually believe that she is shopping for her baby daddy. That Cancer Moon does not want to go too long without children. She needs a whole new era of music making. And so I actually feel like she is going to probably have a moment where it dims her a little bit. I think she's at the peak of her career, because the South Node then goes into her 10th house and her North Node goes into her 4th house. I think she'll do a golden parachute after this next album. She'll find some other football player. She's probably trying out football players right now, and she'll end up pregnant probably in a year. That's my prediction.
I was kind of on the line of that too. I felt like motherhood would be that next chapter. So I think she needs something else, a story to tell, and that'd be a motherhood. And then that becomes a new era, is this motherhood era. So I really don't think she's as narcissistic as she appears. It really is more about the game that she's playing, more about her life and history. So that might be a big next step as a book as well, with the motherhood era. So I almost feel like it's a Madonna vibe, where Madonna shifted through these eras too. And Madonna became the British mother with the fake accent, and then she was all prim and proper. I think she'll have a phase of that way, being the person now, and the personality, and less of the musician.
Yeah. I switched decks. Do I really need to say anything here, or can everybody?
Wow, it's a baby.
Can everybody?
Card there, huh?
Baby
Yeah. So yeah, and before we even got to Cole's question, I was like, oh, she's going to be pregnant, because this card popped out. I wasn't even part of this reading. So that's super interesting. I think she definitely could get pregnant or be pregnant. I see her, and funny that Scott said a Madonna vibe as well, because I was thinking Martha Stewart. I was like, Taylor is a genius marketer first and foremost. And so I kind of see her like which makes total sense. So she's entering into a new era where maybe she is, doing new things, maybe talking about being a mother, or casting other spells on people, whatever.
Oh my gosh, so much validation for everything you guys are saying. I mean, definitely with the family. So I was seeing the number 3, and she wants to be recognized as a team player, but within her own power. So she is going to have a huge awakening, a huge shift in perspective, they're saying, coming up, that's going to allow her to step out of the limelight temporarily without it making it look like a failure. And this is going to be her opportunity to really stay on top, but really flip the script and step out of this limelight. So I am seeing that, and she's aware she needs to be seen as a team player, and it's going to be stepping into this role of motherhood. I am also getting what Christopher is getting, that she's looking around for who that's going to be. And definitely when we had this issue with the coach, and even at the end of the game, Travis Kelce, kind of screaming and everything, she's thinking like, okay, how is this going to look for me as a father of my child? How is this going to look? Because she does like to walk that line of traditional viewpoints where she can appeal to both, sides of the aisle, politically and socially, and all those things. So we're going to see a lot of her supporting people in the limelight to keep that teamwork, but then she's gonna make sure it doesn't look like she's stepping down. And so all these Grammys, it's almost like she's aware of the fact that at some point you get to the top with that, like where you've won the most of everything. And so she wants to make sure that she's able to step out of that in the most graceful way.
Yeah, no, I love what everyone's perspective is. And I agree. I think that she is going to, this family orientation. I mean, she's a Cancer moon. That's what she wants at the end of the day. She wants a family. She wants a security. I think that she's going to have to grapple with doing too much. I think that she's going to have to grapple with that sense of, if I really want a family, what am I going to have to cut back on? And I think that there's also going to be this push and this pressure, because now that Pluto is in Aquarius, it is really in her 3rd house. It is really right on her Venus, just about. It's going to continue over the next decade, two decades, getting closer to her North Node. I think that she's going to have to make more clear lines and more definitive lines. And I think the first little challenge of that is going to be when Saturn ends up squaring her sun. I think it's next year sometime, where she's really going to have to sit and say, okay, what do I actually want? What do I actually need? What is going to help provide me? Because I'm no longer this 17-year-old girl with a lot of freedom who is a natural flirt and who connects with everyone. I think she's going to be having to realize that the game that she is playing, no tea, no shade, mother, I love you so much. You are an icon and I will always listen to your music. But I think she's going to start realizing, especially from fandom reception, especially from her friends and family, because that Saturn in her fourth house, all of those security places are going to come into question and going to start to really be examined. I think that she's going to have to start making more clear lines and more definitive lines as to what path she really wants to go down.
Interesting you say that, Cole, because she's got Venus in Aquarius, a North Node in Aquarius, a lunar eclipse in Aquarius. Like, she may be trying to take over our business here soon. I mean, she's got a lot of mystical energy in her third house. We may actually have a competitor, so we should watch our mouths.
Listen, Miss Taylor, if for the right price, we know you got the coin.
And I can totally see the Martha Stewart thing. I can totally see Swift lines coming out of dinnerware and napkins and all sorts of stuff, all sorts of Swift.
The personality, of Taylor.
Brilliant. All right, so that was our little talk on Taylor Swift, energetically. And, I just want to say, first of all, folks, we've been practicing this for like the last 6 months or so. And the whole point of our show is to just sort of a round table on what's going on. And just we're watching the comments go by. No, this isn't just about celebrities per se. It's just sort of about looking psychically and with our powers into what's happening right now. And I think we're all bombarded with Taylor Swift.
Yeah. And bombarded, unwillingly too sometimes. But I mean, I think having an opinion too is not negative. And I think a lot of people are saying, someone was saying it's like very negative. I'm like, we have opinions and it's good to express those opinions. Doesn't mean that it's negative in a sense. So we're all here to have fun. We're all here to talk about different perspectives that we have and answering different questions. And so I don't think that's so negative. It can be very positive to express that. And at the end of the day, we're all here to unite everybody. And so we're not putting them on pedestals, but they are in our culture. And we can't pretend like they don't exist in our culture either.
But we would all like to know, and the reason why we're doing this show live right now and sort of debuting is to see, what would you like us to cover? What would you like us to look at with our psychic powers and talk about and chat about? We're going to cover most of the headlines that we see. I do want to talk about the full moon coming up, folks, if we can in a minute. But we have another interesting story that I thought we would circle back to that might be of interest to people, which is the Baltimore Francis Scott Key Bridge. As we all know, very interesting. The whole question that we had, of course, when that happened was, it seemed like as if it may not have been an accident. Was the official cause determined? So our team talked about right after what happened after the event. Let's roll the tape and take a look at what we had to say about the Baltimore Francis Scott Key Bridge. Say that 5 times.
So the Baltimore Bridge collapse that caused the structure to crumble like a pile of toothpicks. My question to all of you is, was this really an accident?
I'm getting that there's definitely some shady doings going on. When we look at the chart of Baltimore, Maryland itself, they have a 3-degree Libra moon, which was so close to the lunar eclipse, which is when this happened. So I think there's definitely something that isn't being told, something that they're not fully giving us at this point in time. Do I think that it was like a 9/11 style inside job? Maybe not, just based on my own. I think that there definitely was some miscommunication, some mishappenings.
Well, I definitely am getting vibes that this was an intentional, it was more of a test to see how we would respond, to see what would get out. I'm getting it also does involve foreign energy as well. It's not just our own government.
Yeah, my spidey senses says it's very convenient, I would say. I feel like it was to disrupt the supply chain. And so I definitely feel like this was something very intentional and controlled for sure.
But here's what's interesting about that. Clearly, it tells the temperature of the country, because no one in the country believes it's an accident.
Right.
And that tells you how everyone is on sort of this high alert, and it reveals that for sure.
Also, how crazy is this? 6 of Swords, 6 people died, and there's a boat on the
Whoa.
6
Whoa.
of Swords. So I think
Wow.
that's pretty crazy. They're in this deck that I'm using too. They're all skeletons, the 6 Swords. So I think that's pretty crazy as well. But
That's
6 of
crazy.
Swords, like some sort of it could literally just be the boat, but it is like leaving something behind. So I don't know. This makes me feel like ritualistic type of energy
I was
here as
thinking
well,
the
which
same
is pretty
thing,
weird.
especially number 6
Yeah.
is very symbolic
6,
of a
yeah.
ritual.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it was Christopher saying that, like the country is not, we're not just going to believe the first headline anymore. We're not going to circle
Right.
the wagons and say, oh, you said it, Chris Reck, nothing to see here. And it's all anybody can look at. And everybody automatically picks up on the energy that we're not getting all the information. And there was also a little bit of just, like the potential for retaliation energy. So it's like, let's see what kind of response we get from this. Then we'll know where the other loopholes are. So I am, again, still picking up on that foreign energy. Not like to Cole's point, not necessarily inside job, but definitely energy that is testing the strength in our response and the collective response to whether we're even willing to dismiss this as an accident.
And why not use Baltimore? They've been trying to dump on Baltimore for quite some time, so just use Baltimore.
I've been through Baltimore at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and there's nothing going on. Believe it or not.
Is there anything ever going on in Baltimore?
What about in the shipyard? Yeah.
Yeah. Probably nothing.
It smells a little fishy.
Okay. All right, so that was another topic. So we were playing along with stuff that has happened and getting to the bottom of it. Team, what do you feel now that time has passed since this event? Let's go around and talk about it real quick. Has your opinion changed? Like for instance, Scott?
No. I think it's been even more confirmed. So I think no, again, it's controversy, but it's also there is truth behind it too. So I think that we're pretty much on target with that. Yeah.
Have we heard anything officially? Does anyone on the team clear on has any new headlines come out or of the investigation? Like I'd heard that it's going to take a long time to build the bridge, longer than they anticipated.
Right.
Yeah,
Go
there
ahead.
was I think they recently said the FBI has taken over and is looking into this. I pulled a card too. I think wait and see is what I feel like saying. So I think we're going to hear more about this.
Mm-hmm. What about the Angels?
They're saying that it is definitely a wait and see, and it's going to be who the powers that be, who it is an advantage to for it to come out a certain way. So there's still a lot of manipulation going on behind the scenes, and there's a lot of people involved, a lot of names that could potentially come to the forefront here. So it's a really risky time right now, and they're telling me that even the article about the FBI boarding the ship and all that was supposed to be a little bit more hush hush. That wasn't really supposed to come out when it did. So people are kind of running around trying to tie up loose ends right now. So definitely the wait and see approach. And this is going to play something to do with the elections in the US here. We're going to hear more about it then. That's why it's kind of been kind of quiet, because they're trying to get us to go look at something else right now. But just wait and see when the politicians get going.
Yeah, and I think they're going to start throwing breadcrumbs, saying, oh, here's a little breadcrumb, and then wait a little bit, and then another breadcrumb, then wait a little bit. So we're getting pieces of it, but people tend to have a very short attention span, fingering their screen all the time. So they won't have the attention span to put all the pieces together, even though we'll be getting them. Those who are so very, say smart and observant and conscious, we'll put all the pieces together. So check back here.
Yeah, it seems astrologically it kind of came at the perfect time during eclipse season, which is what I want to bring up next. Actually, this has been one of the heaviest eclipse seasons I've ever experienced. Excuse me, as far as how much energy we were sort of releasing, and I just found it interesting that we had a physical collapse during the season. We had an eclipse about 2 weeks ago. I'm just wondering from the round table what you've been observing and your thoughts on the full moon coming up here in the next 24 hours. Maybe I'll put Devin on the spot.
Well, I've definitely been feeling a lighter energy for those who are paying attention. So it was a very beneficial eclipse is what the angels are saying. A lot of people weren't even able to view it because of the cloud cover, but that was part of the collective fear pulling that in. So there was nothing negative for those who are paying attention, who are open and aware, but there was some things that were going on behind the scenes. That energy was not being used for the most I guess, beneficial ways for the collective, definitely for profitable ways. And this full moon tomorrow, they're saying, is going to be bringing a lot of things to the surface, showing us what was really going on behind the scenes. So don't be surprised if you start seeing even more big headlines coming out that are trying to scare you starting tomorrow with this full moon. Scott, what are you getting?
You know, I get a lot of that too, and I feel like April primarily has been just a month of like, what the fuck is going on, you know, and so I think it's been revealing a lot too. You know, tomorrow with the full moon, I feel like it's definitely going to bring a lot of, I would say, kind of different what you were saying, more peace to certain situations, more of a bigger picture to certain situations. So if you're looking for certain information to come out, I feel like it will, like in your personal lives. If you're fighting against something or you're trying to win a battle or court case or whatever you're going through in your personal lives, I feel like that will come out. Like there would be more push in your favor in that regard. So I would say it really is about shining light on the truth. I feel like it's been that major shift, but putting that in action. I think that, you know, this month of April has been much of that revealing of that truth in certain ways in our individual lives. But I feel like this full moon is going to kind of put that into gear. It's going to put that more into putting it to action in sense and giving you the guide points and illuminating a path to conquer. So I think more individually for us, it's going to be a lot of that light shedding on things that we've already known, but kind of we have the evidence now. What do you think? What does a card say, Mister?
Yeah, I want to say pull a card, man.
So what I think is, I see this as where people are kind of like picking at things and being maybe a little bit too timid in their life. So I think that like whatever people are working towards or on, if there are any areas where you're just kind of like picking at something, you're just kind of, you know, just dipping your toe in the water. You know, I think the energy is asking you to kind of like attack things head on and not just kind of like pick around and be timid. So time to be bold with this full moon for sure. And Christopher.
Bold is the word. In fact, actually, I feel the solar eclipse that happened about 2 weeks ago, I felt was sort of the end of our what's the word, of our spiritual grief that we carried in this lifetime.
Oh yeah.
I feel like we're all burning it off. Those who've been awake have been pursuing a sort of a victory lap, that eclipse, and I actually felt something shift on the earth. I was in Texas at the time, and something did feel like it changed.
Right.
The astrology says this full moon that we're happening in the next 24 hours, this basically is going to tear out the last boundary you have that keeps you from owning what you are worth. Basically.
Love it. I love that.
So it's like, I think what's happened is we realize we've healed, but we haven't claimed back that territory inside of ourselves to say we deserve it.
Right.
So it's sort of like something you might fall into a little bit of a trap in the next, 24, 36 hours that magically reveals to you, like, you're not giving yourself enough credit. You have some sort of boundary with yourself, some sort of approach with yourself that's undermining your credibility with yourself. And then from there, the astrology is crazy, because from that point on, after this moon, all I see going forward is manifestation happening like crazy through September.
That's right. I agree. And I just want to add to that too, because I've been saying, like, last week on my live, I was saying about, like, now it's time to push. Like, some of you guys aren't pushing enough. And those who are pushing too much, you need to take a step back, because, we want to make things to be balanced. And so for those of you, if, like I said before, if having legal battles, push, get that evidence. It's time to take a stand for the truth. And that's been a huge calling for me in my personal life too. But I'm starting to see that kind of those pieces fall together in a lot of my clients' lives and those around me too. So I agree, Christopher, 100% on that.
Yeah, the angels were talking a lot about time is of the essence in a sense of moving towards your goals. So not in a fear way, like you need to run around and get ready for anything. It's more about really stepping into that power with this energy, moving towards your goals.
Love it. I agree.
And so here's a question for the gang. Are we going to be on the same earth at the end of the year? Like, can you psychically feel past the election? I'm just curious. Like, is when I psychically feel there, I have just like this dark energy, not dark as in evil, just dark as in blindfolded. I can't really feel what happens in later this year.
I can get like a general gist, right? Like, I just want to be naked 24/7 type of gist. You know what I mean?
That's you.
Like, that's like just taking the shirts off. And so, no, I mean that kind of in an energetic way where, I really feel like a lot of us, especially those of us who are light workers or those who are like really doing the spiritual work, I feel like we're just going to be that free, that we just feel naked. We don't have anything blocking us anymore. We don't have anything, covering our hearts. We're just wearing it open. And so I really feel like leaders of light, particularly, are going to be the new celebrity. And so I've been feeling that for a while, and I think it'll be a shift into that. And so, but those of us who are doing the power, not doing, doing the work, but those who are not doing the work, I feel like it's going to be kind of dark for them, like almost a turning of tables. So that's what I sense, but nothing specific, but more energetic variable in a sense.
It's a split. I mean, that's what I keep seeing too, is there's like a split. I don't know if we go off into the mountains and build little huts. I don't know.
There's my nakedness. I could just wear a leaf, right?
Yeah, that's exactly Aquarius. That's the Aquarius stereotype.
Aquarius freak.
What did the angels say about this?
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Well, the angels say there's nothing to fear or worry about as long as you are doing the things that you want to be doing right now.
Right.
And that's not even meant to be, that can sound scary too. Well, what if I'm not? I'm in a job I don't like, or I'm in a relationship I don't like. They're saying this is all designed to get you to focus on what you want. And you are not going to be late to the game as long as you are thinking about those things, you're activating those things. I was also getting what Scott was saying about it being a much more, that's what I was feeling with the eclipse too, that we had, is that this lighter energy is allowing people to open up to these new ideas. I mean, we've seen people talking so much more about this idea that there are beings around us, such as angels, maybe from other dimensions, that are here helping us on the planet. And it's not quite the scary thing it was 20 years ago. And when you're able to step into a higher vibration and meet those energies halfway, the sky's the limit with all the communication we can have going forward, and really and truly creating that life right here on Earth. So it's really, they're very uplifting about the whole thing. The key is keeping your eye on the prize and what your heart wants, not the scary headlines that are trying to manipulate you into a place of fear.
And I like what Michelle Bell just said too. We're not separate. It's an illusion. Separation is an illusion because we're all on different timelines of growth. So yes, we're all connected spiritually, but we always play this game of separation. So I don't want it to sound like we're preaching that message of separation with the split. It's just a different, lesson of a learning curve too. But we're still I would say each learning curve that's experiencing in the collective is helping to elevate consciousness. So that split to me is not a separative thing, even though it appears to you in the physical sense. It's actually helping the collective on the greater scale. So I just want to clarify what Michelle Bell said, which is a great point.
Well, we're already seeing the collective kind of opening up to it too. I don't know if y'all saw the latest podcast by Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
He had Tucker Carlson on. I mean, this is something that I would have never 10 years ago in my mind imagined mainstream media talking about, some of the disclosures going on there. And people are like, yeah, we know, everyone's in agreement. People are commenting like, yeah, we've all seen this coming. So this is part of the raising of the vibration as well. So we're kind of meeting that halfway and opening up to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Rec, what do you pull for the year?
Yeah, I think people, I think the year is 2030. I'm calling it right now, is the year that everyone will actually notice the shift. But Two of Swords people, like third place solutions, I talk about this card all the time. So, we like the new world already exists. We just have to choose to let go of these old rules and live in the new world. So, things like following your passion, listening to your inner voice, maybe moving. There are certain like logical decisions we have to make, like paying bills, stuff like that. But I think, there are other decisions like moving more towards our heart and towards things that bring us more fulfillment. That's like crossing the choppy waters here on the Two of Swords. So, I think we still have work to do, everybody. And, that's probably what we're doing between like now and 2030. So, that's what I would do right there. Plain and simple.
2030 is quite a while.
Yeah.
I'm worried about this election.
Well, I would say that, yeah. I mean, everybody has to, I think we have to ignore these 3D things like elections and getting swept up in the crazy energy and all that other stuff. And we have to, manifest something. Like, she has a choice. She's being initiated into something. She can focus on the world in front of her, or she can go build something new instead of, focusing on a broken system. So, that's really what I see here with the Two of Swords.
Well, the astrology shows that we're going to be manifesting like mofos, really accelerating manifestation. Then we have what I call the summer of love. I think everyone's going to be sort of spiritually punch drunk on Jupiter and Gemini. And then Pluto retrogrades back into Capricorn in September 4th, I believe. And at that point, I feel like we face our first headwind. But what's most alarming? So it looks like we're going to have to make a choice here. There's definitely a choice unfolding this year. But what's interesting is Mars retrogrades right after the election, which sort of points to the possibility that we wouldn't have an answer A Mars retrograde after an election sort of points to the idea that there might be a recount. It might be going to the Supreme Court. There might be, it's a real, it does show conflict. It looks like we end on a cliffhanger this year, basically.
Or
all right,
Dingleberry, as you will.
Say again?
Or Dingleberry, as you will.
Yeah, totally.
Paint the picture.
And that brings us to our first, we're going to do our first little commercial here. Yeah. So we'll be right back. We think.
Maybe.
Hey, you spicy little succubus, don't go anywhere because we're going to be right back after this commercial break. Was that good? I know, I went a little off script, but can you blame me? I'm Uranus.
And we're back.
Sponsored by Uranus.
No, we are putting a little placeholder there because we are actually interested in having commercials in this that represent the Lightwork community. But in this moment, we want to actually pitch that the four of us will be at the Unite the Light event. Oh, yeah, exactly. I don't know, Diane. I don't have her happy. Okay. Our producer's talking to us. We're going to all be appearing at the Unite the Light event on May 18th and 19th in Austin, Texas. Everyone you see here will be speaking and part of live panels. You have an opportunity to selfie with us and interact and meet. We'd love to meet you all. Come on down to Austin, Texas. It's at unitethelight.love is the website for that, unitethelight.love. We still have tickets. It's going to be a great time. And the whole point of this is bringing the light together, which is what this show is trying to do energetically, and some laughter at the same time. All right. Yay. And Brittany Carmark will be there too. She's in there. Yay, any thoughts, folks? Yeah. Okay. All right. So, again, we would love your feedback. Tell us what you guys would like to hear on the show and what you like to gab about. Our thought is that with the world being as crazy it is, it's going to be fun to have some commentary and interaction with the audience, ideally once a week. I don't think we'll be here next week, but we'll be here in 2 weeks again. That's the goal, right, team?
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
Okay, excellent. And so please let us know in the comments on all the channels that we're live, what you'd like for us to talk about and dive into. I've seen some interesting topics come up. I think it could be a great community conversation. It's not always about celebrities, but if you're in the headlines, we're absolutely going to take a look at you, which brings us to Sean Diddy Combs, which I've already seen coming up. As we well know, our last headline that we have some pre-roll for tonight is about rapper and music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, whose homes are raided by law enforcement, as we all know. He's now facing multiple civil lawsuits accusing him of sex trafficking, sexual abuse, and rape. Our roundtable led to a deeper discussion about Jeffrey Epstein as well. Let's roll the tape and take a look at what we talked about.
So, Diddy, I like to just call him Sean Diddley Combs. He likes to diddle people. So there's been a lot of allegations, some of his, previous artists that he's worked with have been stepping forward and saying that, he was involved in sexual assault and trafficking. And my question to you guys is do you think that this is true? Do you think that these allegations are true, or are they covering up something else or trying to, I would say, bash his character as they do in Hollywood for certain reasons? What do you guys feel about this? And I'm going to go with Christopher Witecki. What do the stars say?
The stars say it's absolutely true. I mean, he's a Scorpio. No, I'm not just downing all Scorpios. I'm just saying they are built with the possibility of crossing lines. They absolutely feel like they are entitled to cross lines. But in my step system and approach, he's got Mercury at 4 degrees, which just means his mind goes back and forth about morals. His Venus conjuncts Jupiter, which means he has an insatiable appetite for more relationships. So I think he just can't get enough. And his Saturn's at 4 Taurus, which is also that he's back and forth again, when it comes to being in line with his heart.
My thoughts are, and I don't know if we all saw this, but like his private jet apparently flew out of the country. I do believe if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to run from. That's my thought on this particular moment. I think it's not just a one-off sort of yep, this is, we got him finally. I definitely think that there is some sort of bigger moment happening where it's all right, if there has to be a scapegoat, who are the scapegoats in our worlds that we can start throwing?
Thank you.
Yeah, the angels are totally validating everything you said exactly with the jet, with escaping. It's they know that there's so much of this that's going to be coming to the surface, especially with Jupiter going into Gemini. This is just going to keep coming up. So the angels are keep checking in with your intuition when you see these things, because we're all waking up to this stuff.
Yeah, well, I think he's known for rapping, but he's about to sing because he has the Ten of Swords here. And the Ten of Swords, he's been stabbed in the back. I feel like he feels like he's actually stabbed in the back. I'm kind of surprised by the cards. This is like one of those ones where I am surprised by, what shows up here.
I think that all this information that's being exposed, our skepticisms about what we're being told, and a discernment that we have. But yeah, the stabbing in the back, I definitely feel like, yes, he didn't fulfill this contract. And so like, okay, well, you're going down. And it's all true, but he's not the one in control of it. He's just like another minion, just like Epstein, another minion.
Yeah, it makes me think that like with people like Epstein, as bad as he is, like, was he about to sing? Was he about to say more? It just seems like maybe some of these people are starting to see the light and they're not wanting to get, dragged into this.
All right. You brought up a good point. Let's do another psychic poll. Was Epstein killed?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, he was murdered.
There's absolutely no way that he wasn't murdered. Yeah, absolutely.
Devin, what do the angels say? Is he up there in heaven?
Yeah. It was not free will.
Did he make it to heaven? Scott, are you picking up on Epstein right now?
What he's showing to me is like he didn't cover his tracks, and and then cover his tracks the way they were trying to ordain him to cover his tracks. He let a lot of open ends. He trusted too many people that that were talkers and singers, and so they had to do a lot of cleaning up with Epstein, actually. So he's saying to me, so he's like, left too many open doors. And that's where he was kind of like accepting his fate and understood that there was nowhere else for him to turn. The monster's too big, he's saying. The monster's too big. So whether it's suicide or murder, he's accepted his fate, knew what was coming to him.
All right. Direct from Epstein in heaven. That was amazing. I always felt psychically that it did feel like foul play. There was a bit of a surprise there. I don't think he's secretly living in Argentina in Adolf Hitler's old mansion.
Yeah, I was getting that affirmation too, Christopher, that it was, they knew that he was going to drag out the process. And so they were trying to make it happen faster and quicker with him being more surprised.
Interesting. So as a follow-up to that little portion there, that little segment, this full moon in Scorpio that we're having the next 24 hours is actually, I'm predicting, might take another chop at Diddy. Did he or didn't he? Seriously, though, because the full moon is almost near his sun and it's on top of his Mercury. So I'm just going to put out there to our next episode, I'd be willing to bet there's going to be some sort of revelation or major information that comes out that we haven't realized or been privy to as of yet. But it feels like psychically, just put it out there, as since we recorded that segment, it feels like there's an unraveling going on. Deeper. Do you guys pick up anything?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, you basically took the words out of my mouth too, so I definitely feel that, but I think again, like I feel like it's gonna be a burst of information about this too. Like it's almost like I feel like it's kind of been somewhat quiet. They've been focusing on J-Lo a lot, and so I think it's a distraction. All of a sudden, back to Diddy, but I think they're utilizing all these celebrities to connect the dots of the whole Diddy franchise. But a lot of people say, why are we talking about celebrities? Well, we're actually talking about the connection up. To me, this is important because of celebrity culture downfall. Everybody, so why are you talking about celebrities? Well, we're talking about celebrities because it's part of our culture. Number one, number two, I've been saying for the past 3 years, it's going to be a celebrity culture downfall. We're seeing it. We're seeing the exposure. We're seeing everything come to light of people from the 90s that people revered. So I enjoy sitting back, talking about them, saying, yep, they're downfalling because it's time to create a different culture. It's time to put people on pedestals that come from the light. And these people don't come from the light. So to me, that is negative. And to not discuss it is negative. To bring it to light is positive so we can shift culture. So I think, again, this is evidence of that culture shift and celebrity culture changing, which is necessary to talk about.
Yeah, I think it is necessary.
It is. But
okay, Aquarius, okay.
Well, the angels are saying that there's a pretty big, oh, sorry, was Chris going?
No, you go.
I'm not going, you go.
I just wanted to say the angels were cautioning us, though, that we want to watch out for distractions. A lot of this is a distraction technique from other things going on. So this is a great opportunity, they're saying, actually, to test your intuition with everything coming out. There's going to be a lot of disinformation, too. There's going to be a lot of false things coming out about celebrities as well. So before you just, lump everybody into the same category, they're saying check in with your own intuition. And, that we started off the show talking a little bit about Taylor Swift's media stuff. Well, the controversy there is she's talking about people from her past and she's kind of outing them for things. And then people are going, well, hold on, that's not the person I knew. And I mean, who knows at this point? Maybe we'll find out with the full moon as well. But try to look at a lot of this stuff as a chance to test your intuition,
love
see
that.
what happens, right?
Thank you. Very good, Devin. Very good.
Mhm.
'Cause a lot of people, I've been watching these celebrities for a while and feeling that, and now they're getting vindicated.
Exactly.
You know, so I
Mhm.
totally agree with that. Use your intuition. It's just about teaching about discernment. Many people don't have discernment, you know, now. It's actually showing a lot of the collective about having discernment now. And so I think it is important to discuss these things because it's creating so much more positive insights for us. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, which Chris?
Too many
Yeah, right?
Chris's.
Too many
Spoil the
Chris's
broth.
here.
Well,
No, I think
Christopher and
there will
Chris, yes.
there
Yeah.
will be justice coming, but I think there's like a tangled web going on here. Like I still stand by Diddy will sing. I think that there's a lot going on behind the scenes. I think that there's this culture of as a celebrity, when you're not a celebrity anymore, you either wind up mysteriously dead or something like this happens. So I think that a lot of this is going to be exposed, and I think there's like justice coming in for all this, because like weird stuff, they do all this weird stuff. It's all coming out now, and here you go. Here's the truth coming out. Chris, defer.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I find it interesting. I see some people here in the chat are saying, "Why are you talking about Hollywood? Why are you talking about celebrities?" And the truth of the matter is, these are our teaching agents, folks. I think people move into the spotlight because they serve the stories of humankind. And I think to some degree, the agreement was that you were going to be an example for everyone to learn from. And we are learning right now. But I feel for us on the show, we're really interested as a group to sort of discern, use our intuition to kind of play into what else we're hearing, and to allow people to use their own intuition to discern from each direction. I personally believe that we have a whole new crop of what we would call people or influencers coming out. I believe the Pluto in Aquarius is going to bring the age of light. I believe that if you don't have some depth, if you don't have some authenticity, I just don't think you're going to sparkle and do very well in the future. And so what we're seeing here is a change of the guards, right? We're seeing, probably what it looked like to see the fall of Rome, or what it looked like, and we are seeing the, to some degree, Roman Catholic Church. So it's a moment to watch. But here's the thing. I'll just lay this prediction right on the table right now. I think there's going to be so much interesting turns of events come September, October, that all these sort of headlines are going to be moot. This is the end of this old story. Right. And we're going to have a whole bunch of new things to talk about here and gossip about on LOL. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I think it's
all right. So let's see, a live reading. Okay, gotcha. We're having some quotes from backstage. So now let's move on. We're going to move on to another part of the show here real quick. And again, this show is a run through, y'all. We're just sort of seeing what works, what you guys liked, what you didn't like. And one of the things that we want to bring on the show, we want to have other guest light workers, influencers, and interesting people on the panel to talk about things going on. For our pilot episode, we welcomed comedic pop astrologer Cole Protz. That's why you see him come on and off. Cole's a published astrologer for W Magazine and one of the most successful Gen Z astrologers out there. You can see him on TikTok. He's wildly known for his animated memes of planets, which is what Uranus clip was, acting sassy and telling it like it is. Here is our quick little pre-interview with Cole Protz. Keep streaming.
Like most Midwest, I was raised religious, and there was a lot of trauma associated with that. And so much of what I grew up around, feeling as a very spiritual person, felt really, really, really restrictive. So I remember the day very well. I was wandering through a Barnes and Noble with my best friend, and I saw a little astrology books, and I was like, this is iconic. This is amazing. But it wasn't until I was a freshman in college that I had a religious studies professor who was like, I'm going to rock your world and make you understand that no spiritual practice is the right spiritual practice. It's just a matter of what speaks and resonates with you. And that's where I kind of leaned deeper into astrology and started to learn more. But it wasn't until the pandemic that I really started to push myself to start offering readings, creating content, and then also just kind of expand my studies. So yeah, that's kind of like the short of it, but it built out of a lot of trauma, a lot of religious trauma, but a lot of self-liberation as well. Just kind of being like, pardon my French, sorry.
Well, it's okay. I think, I think we can drop it. We're not like PG, but we're also, we'd like children to be able to watch.
Right.
And how did you get on the internet? So you just started in the, basically during COVID and the lockdowns, and is that what you said? And you really got started because you've grown.
Yeah,
fast.
I was working in a very high pressure, very intense, very unfulfilling corporate marketing job, and I was like, I just literally need something that's going to let me look back and laugh at myself. And so it started off by just like posting me doing horrible dance TikToks. If you scroll far enough, you will find the horrible little trend moments. If you scroll far enough on TikTok, you will find. And it wasn't until like August of 2020 where I started seeing other people talk about spirituality, where I was like, oh, I don't have to repress this. I can just let it out and communicate it. But I always like to look at astrology, spirituality through the lens of satire and pop culture, because that's what helps me to learn and to associate. It's just how I communicate in my everyday life. You know, it's just like a random little association, just like quick little witty quip, a good roast. I love a good roast. So yeah, that's kind of how I found myself where I am today.
And I saw your Talking Planet videos way before I saw any of your others, and I thought they're very creative and sassy, and every planet has an attitude. It's great, and you seem very sun sign, moon, rising sign kind of focused. Is that just for the public?
That's just for the public. When I'm like sitting down with like a client and they book with me, I'm like, okay, so do you know about Saturn? And they're like, no idea. I was like, well, great, because there's a quincunx between your Saturn and your sun. So let's dive into that. My teacher hat comes on when I'm like one-on-one with someone. But I've noticed that spirituality is such a complex, it is so nuanced and it is super difficult. I think there is a little bit of a barrier to entry for many people because of everything that goes on within it. So I like to lean more towards the sun sign, big three type of stuff, because that's how I hook them, right? You know, bring them in, get them a little bit closer, get them like, you know, feeling a little bit warm with me, because it is that easy thing that they can associate with.
And I think personally, I think keeping it to the sun signs is smart for this show for the most part, because we're hoping to go, you know, wider than our normal audience, which is why we've come together, is to create something that has a bit of a pop influence. Where do you want to go with your vision of yourself into the future? Have you thought about it? Are you doing astrology full time?
Yeah, so I do astrology and drag full time. I write for W Magazine. I write horoscopes for them. I have my clients. I'm working on some stuff behind the scenes that I can't talk about just yet. But yeah, I see myself very much existing in this entertainment astrology space, because that's what I love. I love to entertain. I love the attention. Truthfully, I love being seen. I love being visible. It is healing so much of my inner child that love to be on the stage. I love it.
We love it too. And really our whole angle is there's so many talking heads out there that are already giving their political banter. What we offer that's different is our superpowers, as we call it. So it's like we use the astrology, the angels, psychic mediumship, dead people, and tarot cards. And we call it LOL. It's leading out loud, but we go by LOL. And the whole point is to have fun and make fun of ourselves before the audience can make fun of us, and put ourselves out there in a dynamic way. So it's all about just having fun, right? So having fun and playing with our magic, you know, no pressure, be funny. Just kidding. That was fun. It was fun working with Cole. We'll hope to have him back again sometime. He's really great. People are asking what he was. He is a Gemini, but I'm trying to think about what step number Gemini he is. I can't recall.
I think he's 11, because he was like, we were talking, he's Virgo ruled. Yeah. Yeah.
Virgo rising, 11 degree Gemini with a Virgo rising.
Mm-hmm.
So we bring Cole up because, again, this is our debut show where we're going to chat, and we feel like, who should we chat with? We love to have your suggestions on who we should bring up here to riff with and talk about starting in 2 weeks. So give us your comments and your intentions there, what you would like to see. And the plan is to always wrap up the show with something we call psychic roulette, which is basically a game where we are going to psychically guess something coming up. And of course, we invite you at home to play along as well. If you can psychically tune in here, and we're going to sort of keep score week after week with our psychic roulette. We're going to do a pre-recorded psychic roulette, and then we're going to do a live one here when we get back. So if we can roll the tape for that pre-recorded, and then we'll come back. And as we close our game, everyone loves to play at home. It's Psychic Vegas, our reading roulette, where everyone at the table places their psychic bet on what will happen in the future. Quick speed round. Today's gamble: after Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce kissed on camera at the Super Bowl and then went to Disneyland after, will they be tying the knot? What do you say, Devin?
I'm getting a no. No, we're not going to get an announcement on that anytime soon.
Scott Cruz?
No.
Cole Protz?
I'm getting an engagement followed by a breakup.
Ooh, that's a bonus. Extra bet on that. And Chris Reck?
Yeah, engagement for sure. Marriage. I'm going to say marriage. Although this might be a lengthy thing, so who knows if it actually does turn into marriage.
My prediction, I agree. Most likely an engagement and a breakup, which will turn into an album, and we'll see how the sales sell.
And I'll be streaming it.
Yeah, we all will. Well, thank you, team. It's always a pleasure to be on camera with you. We'll be back in 2 weeks with LOL leading out loud. Folks, we're not quite we'll see you leaving. next time. Bye-bye.
We're back.
We're still here.
Wait, I can't turn the damn
Don't
thing
go.
off. So
Well,
let me just psychic circle here, and again, we're going to come back in 2 weeks, and when we do, it'll be fresh content and fresh headlines and stuff that's happened. But that said, do you stand by your prediction for Miss Swift?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's no marriage. Again, I don't sense that. But again, the motherhood chapter, I feel like, yeah.
I've been.
To finish that, I feel like when we read that, however many months ago that was, I felt like, her and the guy, whatever his name is, was it Travis or something?
Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce. Say thank you. I only know about this story from you guys, but I
Right.
feel like they were, they were kind of having like a little bit of a kindling, and I feel right now the energy feels very rough right now.
Mm-hmm.
The energy feels very like sandpaper. So I think that she's tolerating it. I think she's showing face. So I still feel no in the marriage department. Like maybe there'll be engagement, but a broken engagement. But I just don't think that she would want to show a broken engagement, knowing that there's a roughness going on. So I still stand by my prediction. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But I don't think so.
Okay,
Devin, what do you feel?
Well, I stand by what I said as well, which is the same as you, Scott. I'm not seeing a marriage here. I like the sandpaper analogy. That feels exactly like what I'm getting as well. And, it's a positioning thing. I feel like she's still positioning herself based on where she wants to go in the future. And, I think she's already starting to see other opportunities for her. After this album release here, she's gonna take the brunt of this album stuff and let it settle, and then we're gonna see some new information.
Yeah, okay, I'll be the one to change my mind. I think that he has something's gonna come up with him. I feel that is gonna change something here. So I'm wondering if he has like a wandering eye or something here going on with the Knight of Wands, and the lovers is definitely, I feel, new love here. So I will change my mind here, and I will say that I think we're gonna see him pop up in the news having to do with her. Maybe maybe he has a secret baby mama, or he's about to, or something, right? So
well, maybe at the time of the last read, you might be picked up on their conversation. Maybe they were plotting.
Maybe they were talking about it.
You probably read. Sometimes that happens. We read the actual current energy that they're talking about. So I believe that maybe you picked up and they were talking about plotting that, but I didn't see in the future. What about you, Christopher? What are you getting?
I feel he's doomed. The South Node is going to be on his son. Actually, it looks like, I was looking it up while we were talking, but June 10th, the South Node is on his son. I am predicting and going on a limb here, breakup by June 10th. It's my final answer.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll have to watch this couple and see.
I think he likes like Latinas. I feel like he likes Latina girls or some exotic girls. I think that's what he really likes, is like an exotic female.
I think he's still going to come out on this on top, though, because like he's got the podcast with his brother and stuff. Like I'm not seeing him like go down because of this. It's almost like he'll just venture into something else with that energy. He's got his own fan base.
Yeah, I suppose he does.
I mean, not a lot of the Swifties are in that fan base from what I hear, but yeah.
Well, let's do a psychic circle too. Since our last meeting, OJ Simpson passed away. The juice. So now that he has safely passed, I think we do a roundtable question, ask the obvious. Do you psychically feel that OJ did commit that crime way back when?
Yes.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go
I guess
first.
Chris will.
He absolutely that glove fit. He was he was stretching his hand out so it wouldn't go in. He definitely did it.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So you think that the glove that wouldn't fit was poor acting? That
was poor acting. Yeah, 100%.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Angels, or you're not an angel? Go ahead, Scott. Whatever you guys think.
Well, I mean, this is more of like a lesson for the collective anyways, to see where all the holes are in the law system, to see the way people can be seen as this amazing celebrity and then have this huge downfall. So, yes, they're saying obviously it was a definite yes, but a lot of it was more about the lesson for the collective and the circus and what it created. And, I could remember watching TV when it came out that he had been decided not guilty. I can remember exactly where I was. It's kind of one of those pivotal moments in the collective. It's like everybody was dividing sides. So it was actually more of a way to show the other side to the celebrity world, like we're seeing with the very article we were talking about earlier. Is starting to come out that there's all these dark sides to being in that life, and people are not really fulfilled. So the angels are more speaking to the lesson for everybody involved in this.
I'm hearing. I almost feel like I'm getting a message from OJ himself. Here I am challenging celebrities, and I said I never want to be that person challenging celebrities, and here I am. You made it, Scott. Anyways, I'm definitely feeling like, he's saying that, yes, there was also an accomplice. I feel like there's another person that was involved in this. And I feel like, he's shown to me that he was making all these wrong steps. And like, the accomplice or whoever who's I would say pushing him along the way was like mad he was making these mistakes. And so, but I also feel like there was another vendetta against Nicole Simpson and whatever the other fellow's name was, I forget. But there's actually a vendetta against him. So it's really layered, not just with OJ, but there's a lot of other people that were involved in this that also wanted him dead. So it's really layered. And he had an accomplice, as I'm showing, a hidden accomplice. And there's a lot more webs behind this. So I feel like, OJ also was taking a fall too for another plan for them to be dead, even though he was part of it. So it's messy. It's really messy. And there's a lot more I don't think that we've even been shown or told. But that's why I think he was able to get off, because he was also doing deed for others too. So it's it's first time I'm actually reading this, so I'm kind of like, what? But yeah, it's pretty layered.
Popcorn. Yeah, that's interesting. So what was that blonde straight twink that lived behind his house, Kato or something? Like, do you think he was the accomplice?
No, the accomplice feels like when I see like a person in black as an accomplice, it's always like a hidden entity that is trying to be hidden. Like no one knows the figure. So it could be someone in Hollywood, could be someone and has a high ranking somewhere. So it feels a hidden entity like that. So no one that anybody would know.
Interesting. Well, here's my take on it. I feel, looking at his chart, and we do have his birth time, which is interesting. He was born July 9th, 1947, a step 16 Cancer. But Chiron at 2 degrees Scorpio, I had the psychic sense looking at his chart that he got away with murder in a past life already. And so he remanifested that mistake. But what I find to be really interesting is that, he ended up going down for that robbery in Vegas. And it sort of felt like that was the karma biting him back.
Yeah, I feel that too.
But what's interesting is like Jupiter he died right when Jupiter hit his 10th house, which basically means like fame. so he went down like a classic. I mean, he literally had one more moment of fame right there as he left the planet. But interesting take, folks.
What do you guys really quickly? Do you think it was actually cancer? Do you think that was a cause of death, or do you think it was something else? What do you guys feel about that? I'm kind of curious to know about if you think it was actually cancer that was the cause of passing, or was it actually some other issue?
Yeah, I think it was cancer.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Was it turbo cancer? That's all I'll say.
Turbo cancer.
Might have
Did
been.
it come in a pill?
Maybe.
What's the card say? The card says, yeah.
Seven of Cups is an illusion. And so Seven of Cups, cloudiness, not seeing everything. So it could have been some sort of, special something, special cocktail, right?
That's why does it come in the form of a pill? I do feel like there was some sort of something that pushed it in gear. If it was not a poisoning.
Yeah. Plus also, when you are an athlete, a lot of times there's a lot of, painkiller use and stuff like that too, that wears your body down prematurely, and steroids wear your body down prematurely. So that could be also interesting, happening in the background. I don't know.
Yep.
Interesting. All right. Well, this has been fun, y'all.
Yes.
Don't laugh all at once.
So much fun.
I'm actually proud. I think this pulled off pretty well, considering that we've been throwing, we came together at this last moment. Thank you for the comments, everyone.
Yes, thank you.
We're going to be back in 2 weeks, right?
2 weeks.
Yes.
2 weeks. We love it for people to put in the comments and on, obviously while you're chatting, but also if you watch this later, put in the comments what you'd like to have us cover, because we want to start having a public conversation about leading out loud. And the whole point here is for us to, to take that lead by speaking, using our voice and speaking up.
And we want you guys to play at home with us. That's the fun part too, because we all know you have these abilities. So
I love the thumbs up there too. Yeah.
Yeah. What did it do?
That was nice. That's good. I didn't even know we had them special effects. That's a great idea.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, we love the comments, good, bad, critical. Like it's just, you guys help mold the show. So we want to hear from every angle of your comments, of your opinions. Yeah. 100%.
And hang out on Mondays and start the week together. So
absolutely.
All right, cool. Well, thanks everyone. I think remember folks, that you don't have to put up with a shift show in your life. Just lead out loud. That's how we'll wrap this up. Until in 2 weeks, we love you.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Ciao.
Everybody.
There are so many people that are disconnected from their internal guidance. My mission is to change that.
I don't just talk stuff and repeat stuff. I'm living the stuff.
I'm your Carol Master and Bad Vibe Blaster.
And you can thank me for covering your astro.